Y'all, it is comp season, costume season, recital season, and it is officially that time of year where everyone starts to feel a little overwhelmed and a little frazzled. But with all the tasks that are on your to-do list, it can feel like a never-ending battle. And then we sometimes let those urgent, and y'all saw it, air quotes, urgent tasks overshadow the important ones. It's a conversation has been coming up over and over and over again. And so that's why in this week's episode, I'm going to be sharing with you and breaking down how we keep focused on the most important tasks in our business, even when everything is happening at once. If you're joining me, say, hey, Erin, oh, what's up? Let me know that you're here. I always want to know who is with me when I come on live every single Wednesday. And if you've stumbled upon this somehow, I'm Erin Bird, and I support dance studio owners and educators to really grow their businesses by creating their own unique vision of success without the overwhelm, the burnout, the sacrificing the personal life, because you do not have to do all of that. Now, if you're coming back and hey, I'm getting all the heys. Hey there, my friends. I'm so happy that you're here with us today. Now, if you are coming back in on the replay, I want to know that as well. So just drop a little hashtag replay and we will continue the conversation once you come in and you get all the juicy goodness. Now, I have to tell you, we love to learn out loud around here. So what does that mean? If something resonates with you, this is an active conversation. So I want you to lean in. I want you to use your computer. I want you to share in the comments an aha, a nugget, or hey, this is what I'm finding works really well for me, or hey, this is where I'm struggling. So then that way we can support you. Now, my friends, I'm going to take a drink of my little protein coffee here, because it's an exciting time in our community. I have to know. Okay, so today is day one here in my little hometown of Clovis, California, of the rodeo. Now, it is our 109th annual rodeo this year, which is an amazing legacy for our community. But is a rodeo a big thing for you where you live? I want to know. It is a big deal here. And my friends, where my new office is, like I am so close. Like if I were to open up these windows for you, it is our main Clovis Avenue, and you will see all of the horse trailers going by, all to the rodeo grounds. And tonight kicks off PBR, professional bull riding, you guys. So much fun. Is rodeo a big thing for you? So in some of our classes, of course, we are doing rodeo week with our kiddos in our classes, and it's super fun. I want to know, is rodeo a big thing for you? All right, I digress. Anyway, let's jump into today's topic, which is really priority hacks, right? I want to know below. No rodeo in Detroit. Y'all are missing out. Now, it reminds you that a lot of times people always ask me, oh, you live in California? I'm like, I am not the California that you think. Most people think of, Oktoberfest, so fun. Rodeo here it is a big deal. But I live in an area that's ag. We are here in California. It's not LA. It's not San Francisco. It's not San Diego. It's not the beach. We live in ag USA, my friends. So anyway, rodeo is a big deal here, and it's so much fun, and we have really amazing concerts with it. And Stampede was insanity. Kind of want to know more about that. All right. So let's really dive into the topic at hand today, which is how do we stay focused on the things that really matter during this time of year? Now, let's just take a little pulse, take a little beat. Right now in your business, do you feel on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the most, do you feel completely overwhelmed? Or 1 being, no, these are all like this time of year, it's like everything runs like clockwork and it's like not a big deal. And then somewhere in between. Let me know below. I want to know, are you feeling overwhelmed right now with all the things that are happening and that you have to get done? Or are you like, nope, totally got this. It's just another day. It's another day of sun. Anyway, right? Like, where are you at? I want to know. And do you feel like there's a better way? So let me know. I'm going to wait for those kind of to come in a little bit. But what I could tell you is this week I've been having lots. Okay, an 8. Okay. So I've been having lots of conversations this week with studio owners. And what I keep hearing over and over and over again is like, when things calm down, when comp season's over, when recital's done. Um, okay. 4, but ooh, a 2. I love it. 4, but I want a better way. Okay. We can definitely dig into that. Is that because there's so many things to do on your to-do list, whether it is, like I said, comps, whether you've already started competing or you're in the middle of it, obviously getting all those costumes in line, recital prep, getting ready for that. I know some of my studio owners that I work with have recitals in May, so they're just right around the corner. And so how are we feeling? Because what I'm hearing from a lot of studio owners right now is like, Erin, my to-do list is never ending and I'm just trying to work through it the best that I can. And so when I get to X, Y, and Z, it'll get done. And so one of the first things that I want to dive into today is the idea that what is actually urgent in your business. And sometimes when we are in the height of this crazy season, the things get a little blurry. And because of overwhelm, because of stress, we start to believe or we tell ourselves that everything is equally important. But the truth is, not everything is equally important, right? And we have to be able to look objectively at our to-do list and decide what is really important. Now, this goes back to our big vision, big goals, and our big why. And so my first thing for you all is that if you are not checking yourself, check yourself, right? If you're not checking yourself on a continual, consistent basis about what really matters, that is our first problem. So, my friends, right now, let me know below. Do you have your big goals, big vision, and big why written out in a place where you actually go and visit it? I do. I like I celebrate every day. But this right here is like my guiding light. I visit it. You'll see it's marked. I visit it and to help remind myself what are my big goals. And if the things on my to-do list are not in alignment with that, then we go into the delete, delegate, or do, right? We go into that whole thing. Now, I could talk about that a lot, and I'm sure most of you have heard of that before. You look at your list, and you're like, what can I delegate, right? What can I get rid of because it doesn't really matter? And then what are the things that I need to do myself? What I'm hearing so many times right now from studio owners is they have this long to-do list, and the reality is that they could delegate so many of those items, but they're afraid to because nobody else will do it the way I do it. Okay, well, there's that. Is it because of fear or because of control or loss of control? Or do you think that you could do it quicker and more efficiently than somebody else? Let me know. How do you feel about delegation? Do you feel like it takes up a lot of extra time and so it's just easier to do it yourself? Now, I am here to tell you that I have been guilty of this myself. Because so many times I tell myself, oh my gosh, I could just do that so quick and just get it done and check it off my list. Where if I have to train someone, if I have to delegate it to somebody, if I have to teach them how to do it, it's going to take me twice as long. So I might as well just get it off my list now. And then later on down the road, I will train them how to do it. But then it comes back around. And guess what? I haven't trained anybody how to do it. And so it's like that cycle. Love delegation. That makes my heart happy. Okay. So we go through and we have to look at things objectively into what is the most important thing. So, one of the top hacks and tips and tricks that I can give you during this time of year is I do want you to do a brain dump. I want you to actually make your long list, never ending list. I want you to just brain dump it, get it all out, right? Get it out there. Get it on pen and paper, write it down. Now, I will tell you that pen and paper, there are studies on this. Pen and paper is actually a better method for you than if you were to make a list on your computer. So, start with the pen and paper. There's science behind it that backs this method actually and anchoring in. So, know that. All right, dump it. Brain dump. Get it all out there. All right. Then after that brain dump, this is where you need to go through and you need to look at, okay, what is actually a priority? What is actually a priority? Because yes, we have a long to-do list, but not everything is equally important. So one of the things that I do after I go through and say, okay, I don't really need to do this. Do I really need to add rhinestones to that costume? No. Do I really need to create this extra set piece? No, maybe not, right? Because it's not aligning with my big goal of increasing my revenue or my big goal of cutting expenses or my idea of enrollment being a priority, right? An extra set piece, more rhinestones on a costume, none of those things equate to what my big goals are. They are not in alignment with what I so desire. But sometimes we always think, well, we have to go bigger. We have to do da-da-da-da. And that's really not the case, okay? Because at the end of the day, that does not influence and help us move the needle forward to what our real actual goals are. All right, so moving back. Once I've gone through that long ass list of things that need to happen, and I don't really need to do this. This does have to get done, but I don't need to be the one to do it. So I'm going to delegate. And then there's going to be certain things that RA do that it is up to me. I need to be the one to do that because, again, it's in alignment with our big goals, our vision, and it is the highest level tasks that maybe are revenue generating activities. They are relationship building activities. There are things that that I really need to handle. Now, when I go through those and I look at the things that I actually need to do, I then give them a rating of 1 to 3. 1 being the most important thing that has to be done because it is my one step to keep moving the needle forward. So, if you have a big goal, and let's say your big goal is I want to enroll 50 new students. That's my big goal, right? Then I need to actually be doing activities that help me get to that. Because that's a number one priority. Above all the other things, if my goal is I want to add 50 new students, then I should be focusing my attention on lead generation activities, revenue generating activities. Now, if you tell me, Erin, my goal is to have a seamless recital where I actually am not needed. I want to sit in the back of the house and I want to be able to watch my recital and see the beauty that happens on the stage without being around, running around everywhere. That's my goal. Okay, then we need to talk about, well, what needs to happen? What systems need to happen? What do you need to delegate so you aren't required to be, in it, so you can actually sit back and enjoy it. So let's go back to that big why, big vision, and what do you really desire? And then we have a rating system 1 to 3. One is top priority, that needs to be my ultra focus. Number 2 is like, yes, this stuff needs to get done, but I have to do my number 1s before I get to my number 2s, right? And then the number 3s are, yes, this is bigger picture, but it's going to be last on the list, right? Let me know. Do you guys go through and give yourself a rating system and a list of priorities? Now, then I go through even further and I'm like, okay, I've got 4 1s, 4 1s listed. And then we get intentional about our time. And if I have 4 1s that are top priority, I intentionally block out time in my calendar to work specifically on those things. Nothing else distracts me from those activities. I don't look at email. I don't answer phone calls. I don't do anything else but focus on those top tier priority tasks. Let me know. Do you guys do this? I want to know. Because that's something else that I also hear a lot of times from studio owners. It's like, I go to start working on something and then I get pulled away, whether it's a parent, a teacher, and something happens over in the classroom and I'm pulled away and I'm needed, or XYZ, right? Are you setting aside intentional time to work on those future forward tasks that help you get to your goal? I'm gonna be quiet. I'm gonna take a drink because I want to know. Consistently. Consistency is the key to turn average into awesome, right? So many times I have studio owners tell me, Erin, I'm just like, I feel like I'm stagnant, like I'm hitting this plateau and I can't ever move forward above it. And then when we dive in, it really comes in down to how consistent are they? Are they showing up? Are they doing the work that they need to do? Are they taking the actions that are necessary? Or are they doing all of the other stuff that doesn't really matter and they're putting off the hard things that are actually going to move the needle forward? So, my friends, are you prioritizing your time? All right. Right now, I want to take a pause. Okay. You make the list, but do the easiest first. Thank you for sharing that because you are not alone, my friend. I have to tell you, this is very, very common. And because sometimes we tell ourselves, ooh, if we do the easy stuff first, we're going to we're going to check off that list and we're going to feel very accomplished because we got a lot of tasks done. And that there is some validity to that, right? Like we know that when we can mark off things, we feel like, oh yeah, I'm a rock star, like I'm getting stuff done. But if that stuff isn't really the meat of your dinner, right? The protein, the good stuff, right? And it's all just the extra fluff in the sides, you are not actually moving the needle forward in your business, right? I absolutely suggest eat the frog. What do I mean by that? There's a book, actually, if you guys haven't read, it's called Eat the Frog, but it's an old one. But anywho, do the hard thing first. So what's your one thing? And it doesn't have to be, I've got all these things I have to do and they're all equally important. Pick one thing. Do the hard thing first because then you will feel accomplished and you're like, anything else that I do today, it's all icing and the cherry on the sundae, right? But if we work the other way, we never get to the important stuff. We never get to the important stuff. And this is where I see a lot of studio owners miss the mark. Okay, how can you delegate the enrollment process, or should it be the owner that is making those calls? I find I slack in that area now, and it's recital season, and that does not align with your big goal. Okay, you can absolutely delegate the enrollment process. You can. It comes down to having a system in place that you can then train and a staff member to handle and take over. It does not have to be you as the studio owner. That being said, I don't necessarily know, a studio owner who should be 100% removed from it. I think that it's a good practice as a studio owner to be involved in it, to oversee it, and that sort of thing. But you can 1000% delegate it if it's the right fit person to do the job. So, here's one of the problems that we see sometimes when delegating is they try to delegate it to someone who is not a a good fit for the role. And so then it doesn't work. But if you want to talk more about that, we can definitely talk about it. But yes, the short answer is yes, you can delegate it. Okay. I have an end of the year process that includes delegation, and I get the whole list done without overwhelming myself. Yes, took years to get it down though. Okay. So, yes, it is about taking the time though and being intentional and sitting with it and saying, "Okay, I am actually going to invest the time to creating these processes." Seeing them in action and then seeing, okay, in this process, where was the gap? What did we miss? What needs to be tweaked? And it is about tweaking and revamping and seeing, okay. And then when you either have someone leave or a new team member come on, it's how do they work inside that dynamic? And how do we need to adjust for that as well when it comes to delegating the roles? But I love that. And yes, it does absolutely. It takes a little bit of a time, but it is so worth it in the long run. I have decided to implement Frog Friday. Oh my gosh, I wish I had my hand clappers here. It's get up and do the big hard tasks first. No teaching, just big tasks to move the needle on my business. Oh, that makes my heart so happy to hear, because it absolutely will be a game changer for you. So many times if we can do this, that Frog Friday, and we say, okay, even if it's, I'm going to spend 1 hour each week hyper focusing on those tasks that are going to actually make a difference in your business and are in alignment with your big goals, they stack, right? It's a parfait. You're going to layer, and every single week you're layering a bit more and more and more and more until you have this beautiful parfait of a studio, of a business that when you look at it, you're like, oh, this is delicious. It makes my heart so happy. And it didn't happen overnight, but let me tell you, it will happen at a much quicker rate when you're intentional and you focus on it. So, my friends, one of the big things is, like I said, I am intentional about my time. I block out time on my calendar. So, if right now in this crazy season, you feel like it's hard to find the time to focus on those big picture things, I want to challenge you. This isn't about an all or nothing. And that is another sentiment that some of us struggle with. It's like, if I'm going to do it, I'm an all or nothing type of person, Erin. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it full out, right? And this is where we fail, because we feel like we have to devote all of our attention to this or nothing at all, right? And that's actually not the case, my friends. Bite-sized, more little bits and chunks and morsels, as long as they're consistent, is better than trying to bite off the whole thing and not be able to chew it and swallow, right? So right now, I'm going to challenge you. If you are here with me, or if you come back on the replay, I want to know that as well. But Right now, I want to challenge you to look at your calendar and to look at your schedule. And I want you to pick out a time where you can sit down, like Frog Friday, right? And you can devote even just 30 minutes, 1 hour. It doesn't have to be an 8 hour day, right? To devote to this. What if it was just 30 minutes? What if it was just an hour? And I would love to challenge you to, in the comments below, well, share with everybody, safe space, but share with everybody, when are you going to focus on the future forward tasks in alignment with your big goals? Lead generation, delegation system, or enrollment system, so I can delegate that, right? Because I know that I'm getting so busy in recital season, and I am, doing a lot of different things. And so I know that what happens is that falls by the wayside, right? Or another one I hear that happens quite often is during this time of year, what happens? Our marketing, our lead generation gets like just the total back burner, and then it boils over on the back of the stove, and you don't have any new leads, and you're wondering why your summer camps aren't full, or why you have the summer slump, or why you never know if people are going to re-enroll and come back. Well, here's the thing, my friends. If we are not being forward thinking, if we are not being proactive, right, you will stay in that space and you will not end up where you want to be. Okay. Yes, that competition revamp. Okay. So if in this moment, one of the other things that I have to share with you is that, so A, let me know, when are you going to set aside time? We have one friend who's doing Frog Friday, right? But what does that look like for you on Frog Friday? On Friday, between 8 and 10 a.m., right? I want you to get specific. I want you to look at your calendar. Now, if you're in the middle of comp season and you do compete, to tell yourself, I'm going to do Friday mornings from 10 to noon might not actually be realistic, because, hello, we know how many competitions are happening on Fridays, right? And so don't set yourself up for failure. Look at your calendar and something that's realistic and be like, you know what? Tuesdays are really the best day for me to just start, and to focus on that. And I'm going to do Tuesday. You know what? On Tuesdays, I want to drop my kiddos off at school. I want to come home. I want to have a cup of coffee first. I want to read a little bit, right? And then, so maybe I don't want to do that until 10 a.m. after I feel like I've given myself some time, right? Okay. Monday, Wednesday, 7 a.m. for 1 hour before phone starts ringing. Yes. Yes, 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 right? And now I'm going to give you another tip and a hack. You guys ready for it? I want you to pull out this guy, right? Now that you've committed Monday through Wednesday, 7 a.m. for 1 hour, I want you to pull out this guy. And I want you to go to your calendar, and I want you to set an alarm, an event that tells you, right? That tells you that is what you are supposed to be focusing on. I do it, right? Because sometimes we get so caught up that we're like, we didn't do it. This is a hack that will help you stay intentional and remind you what you're supposed to be working on. So set a phone, set an alarm, get it on your calendar so it reminds you this is your priority task. Okay? So, did you guys get that one? How many of you are setting alarms on your phone on those priority tasks when it comes to time blocking? I want to know. I want to know. Can you? Gosh, I'm just like singing it all today, y'all. Hope you don't mind. Okay. All right. Now, the next and last little hack I'm going to give you and step I'm going to give you is something that has also been super helpful for me in realizing why this is so important. So, here's another little tip, another little hack that will help you stay motivated and stay the course, right? So, number one, track and measure. Track and measure. So, what makes you feel good? So, if it is the marking things off, right? One of the little hacks that I do for myself, because I love seeing that red pen marking stuff off, right? So, for me, it's that consistency. So, I might print out a little calendar or whatever that's specific for my priority tasks, and it is posted. And guess what? I use a red pen, a red Sharpie, actually, is what I use. And when I get up and do that thing and honor my time and actually focus on it, and I complete it, or I just do the act, I mark it off in red Sharpie. I don't, for myself, want to see a break in my consistency because consistency is key. So it motivates me. I'm like, ooh, there are 4 red X's in a row. I am going to get the 5th one, right? I'm going to focus on it. It helps keep me motivated. The other thing is celebrate the wins. And when you track and measure, so who here loves like spreadsheets and such? Anyone? Anyone? Okay. I'm a big fan and track and measure everything. It gives us the data we need to move forward. But track what you're doing with your time. It's pretty eye-opening, and it allows you to start to see when things are stacking and you're like, holy poop. Yeah. Holy poop. Because you're in it doing a little bit each time, sometimes we don't see how far we've come. And so, A, celebrate your wins weekly at minimum, if not daily. Celebrate the wins. Look at how far you've come, right? Gold stars, yes. Okay. Gold stars are amazing. Yes. Track your work that way because it's like, ooh, I feel good. Whatever it is, look at that. Whatever it is, use it. Use it. Let it motivate you and be like, yeah, I'm a rock star. Look at all those gold stars. It's so good, right? Now, yes, you might appreciate Excel spreadsheets, but maybe not love them. Totally get it. But what it can do for you is give you very clear and concise data that shows you, hey, I started out here and I did this action and this was the result. And then I did this action, which compounded on this one, and this is the result. And then I did this one, right? And it allows you to see in this marathon that you're running, it allows you to acknowledge the mile markers and that you've made accomplishments along the way. Okay. So let's do a quick little back train here, a speedy little recap, if you will, on priority hacks, tips, and tricks to stay focused during this crazy time of year, my friends, is number one, brain dump. Get all of those tasks out and then decide what do you need to delete, what actually doesn't need to be done, what can you delegate, and what are the things that you need to do for yourself. And then we need to assign them a value, maybe a 1 to 3 system. As far as 1 is top tier priority, it is going to actually help me get to my big goals. It aligns with my vision. And so these are the things that I need to do first, all the way down to priority number 3. And then we need to go through and we need to look at our calendar. We need to become intentional and we need to block out time that is specific for those top tier priorities. Always going back to our big why, our big vision, and our goals. That is how we continue to move the needle forward. This is how we don't get caught up in all of the to-do lists of things that maybe don't really matter or aren't going to get you to your ultimate goals. We have to become very objective and my friends. Big deal here is being proactive, working ahead, and looking at what is happening in the future to help you overcome plateaus, being stagnant, not moving the needle forward. These are all things that we need to do. And if you have an affinity for gold stars or marking off calendars and and red Sharpie, use those to help motivate you and move the needle forward. Now, my friends, I know that there's so much going on, and sometimes it feels like if we don't have the answers or we don't exactly know what to do to help us get to the next level, to our big goals, to our vision, to our dreams, then I want to invite you. I'm going to open up my calendar this next week before I am traveling, but I'm going to open up my calendar for 5 people. And if you would like to have a chat, a studio success strategy session, this is totally complimentary. But if you would like to have one of those to talk to me about how am I going to move the needle forward in my business to set myself up for success for the future, then my friends, come on over. Let's have a chat. I love working with studio owners and kind of helping you map out an action plan. This could be for anything. This could be from how do I increase my tuition? How do I figure out scheduling because that's the worst job ever that I do? How do I get my lead generation strategy going, right? Like, oh, thank you. How do I move the needle forward based upon what my goals are? So, my friends, go ahead and I'll pop this in the chat for you as well. But I am opening up, I have about 5 spots next week that we can fit you in for this. Now, I do require you fill this out because it helps us make the best use of our time together. So then that way we can make sure that we're getting you a plan and you feel good and you have some immediate actionable tips that you can implement to start moving the needle forward for you right now, even during this crazy time of year. My friends, I know things are crazy, but what I can tell you is this. Number one, you've got this. You are amazing. You have done hard things, and it's going to come, this too shall pass, right? But we have to learn to start working smarter. And we have to start learning that while we are all freaking amazing, like I'm Wonder Woman, right? Or that's the way I feel. But just because I can do all the things doesn't mean I should be doing all the things. And it is okay to ask for support, to get the help that you need from your staff, from your family, from your friends. It is okay to ask for support because while we can't do it all, we shouldn't. And if you try to do it all the time, you will become burnt out, you will become overwhelmed, and you will start to be resentful because you are sacrificing your personal lives. And that's not where we want to be. Yes. Oh my gosh. Don't forget to reward yourself for your accomplishments all along the way. That is part of celebrating the wins, right? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, my friends. I hope that you had a little nuggets, maybe some good reminders of things. I want to know what you're going to try. Are you going to be setting reminders on your phone to honor your time blocking? Are you going to do your brain dump this week? What are you going to do this week to help yourself rein in, get control, and stay focused on the things that actually matter? I'm Erin Bird. I'm your hostess with the mostest, and I hope to see you next Wednesday for another episode of the Erin Bird Live Show, where we dive into business strategies, mindset, tips and tricks, and really, my goal here is to also bring you a little joy every single week because that is what it's all about, my friends. I'm going to leave you there. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I will see you all very, very soon. Bye, guys.